yet, I'm Sam. I'm a splenic projector and I work in the system of design. Now in particular today I want to focus on something that is a really big problem for your authority. What is a huge thing that is going to stop you from using your authority correctly? A lot of human design content can be very dry, very academic, very technical, very mechanical. But one of the things that I've realized is that you can give somebody a mechanical explanation of something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they know how to implement it, in particular that they have the self-esteem or confidence to try and implement it. I want you to think about finding design a little bit like getting your driver's license. Okay, now in order to get your driver's license where I live at 16 years old, you have to pass a written test. In order to study for the written test, they give you a book, and I think that there's a multiple choice test online that you can probably take. But the point is, in the beginning, driving a car is a lot about reading the rules of the road, reading how the vehicle is supposed to operate, so that when you get the keys to the car, you're not a hot mess out on the road and really a danger and a liability to everybody else. But that whole preparation doesn't really account for the self-esteem or the confidence that a person is going to need to get behind the wheel of a car. Because the first time I give a 16-year-old keys to a car, there is a wave of fear that is likely going to go through them about the potential dangers ahead of them. Now, you take a teenager with really low self-esteem, negative, terrible self-talk, and I'm not saying this is their fault. Maybe their parents talk to them terribly, maybe their friends talk to them terribly, maybe their siblings talk to them terribly. You take a 16-year-old who spent a lot of their life being told that they're wrong, that they're stupid, that they don't know how to think on their feet, they're not street smart, they're not whatever it is. But if you make them question their own ability to trust themselves and be intelligent and apply that information that they're learning, if you kill that confidence, that wave of fear that happens when you give this 16-year-old keys to the car is pretty intense. Whereas you take a kid who's been really built up by the people around them. You're so intelligent, you're so quick, you're so capable, I'm so proud of you. You know, when I give this 16-year-old the keys to the car, they're like, let me at it. I want my freedom. Let me out of here. Let me go for a ride. Let me go call my friends. Let me at it. Mom, can I have the keys to your car? You know, that's the kid who's confident enough to ask for the parents' vehicle. All right, that was enough of a warm-up for you to get the direction that I'm going in. Now I'm gonna bring in, don't quote me, this is not verbatim, but a Ra quote, a quote from Ra, that's a better way to say that, a quote from Ra Uruhu, let's be formal, is that the generator should, in theory, be the easiest one to wake up. However, they have one thing that technically makes them the hardest to wake up. It's this one terrible hurdle, and if they can get over the one terrible hurdle, then in theory, the generator should be very easy to wake up. And sacral beings being 70% of the population, we want to wake them up. We would really love to wake them up. So what's the big hurdle in my way? What's the thing blocking me from helping the generators wake up to themselves? Okay, now I'm gonna say two different things, and in theory, they're the exact same thing. They're the same hurdle, they're the same problem. Problem one, people pleasing. Problem two, caring what somebody else thinks. They're the same problem, and that problem is the #1 biggest hurdle that stops the sacral being from waking up. But in general, this isn't just a sacral being hurdle. This is a hurdle that stops people from even accessing their own mechanics, period. We talk about something in human design mechanically called the not self. Now, the not self can come to represent quite a few different areas in your design, or in particular, lack of your design. So anywhere where you are undefined or open is a place where not self can more easily take up residency. Anything that is considered your transference, so in particular if we're talking about color, whatever is 3 numbers away, like my motivation is color 6, it transfers to color 3. Color 3 is a big representation of my not self because myself is not headed in the right direction. It's a comfortable way for me to remember not self. My not self is when myself is not headed in the right direction. Transference and prioritizing my undefined or open centers. Let's just give a very basic example for my own design. I have an undefined head center. The not self of the undefined head is feeling like you have to know the answer. Now, if I turn that into a fear where the other has power over me, it's not that I'm afraid that I don't have my own answer. I am not really concerned that I think that I'm dumb or unintelligent. I feel like I should be concerned that you think I'm dumb or unintelligent or stupid. I feel pressure, head center, I feel pressure that I should care that you think that I have the right answer. Now, if my motivation is I need them to think that I have the right answer, do you hear how far away that is from my actual authority of, is this healthy or not? Saying something like, you care what the other person thinks, people can feel the truth of that, like, I do kind of care what other people think. But it's vague enough for people to be able to evade responsibility with it. But when I look at each center, I can attach something about the other person there and I can go, oh shit. And I can totally see how I'm susceptible to paying more attention to that than what my authority is trying to tell me. I gave you the example for the undefined head center. I have an undefined ajna. The undefined ajna needs to be certain. It feels this, I have to be sure. I don't want to have any doubt. I need to be certain. So that means that I have a fear that other people will look at me and go, oh, she's not sure. Oh, she doesn't know if that's a good idea. Oh, we shouldn't believe her. That's it. Oh, see? And as that came out, I'm like, oh, I felt that one. They're not gonna believe me. That's my undefined ajna. They're not gonna believe me. And suddenly I'm overcome with self-doubt. And so how do I need to behave now so that I know that you believe me? And you feel that panic that's coming up there because the not self is really insecure. And like, I'm letting that, like, I totally hit my own emotion there. And I was definitely letting it come out. I could have very easily gotten carried away there. It's funny, I have gate 11 in the ajna. There is this idea, there is a curiosity, but I'm missing gate 56, the gate of belief. The other side of that, the electromagnetic, is I believe. I don't have 56, I don't have the I believe, and I can feel that lack. They're not gonna believe me. There's a not self, there's an openness, there's a... Now, awareness is the thing that trumps it all. Awareness is the thing that puts it all together, because I don't have to go, they don't believe me. I don't have to get stuck in that. I have to pull myself back into my truth and go, I'm splenic. My authority is this healthy or not? But if I find that I make decisions that are motivated based on making sure that other people think I'm sure and that they believe me, I'm being motivated by an insecurity. I'm being motivated by the not self, and that is not going to help me make correct decisions for my true authority, which is my spleen. Now, the awareness of that means that when I have this panic that goes, I have to be sure, I can go, oh, I recognize that panic. I recognize that that's a part of my openness. I recognize that I am designed to have that come in as a concern or a fear, and since I'm aware of that, I'm not going to let it derail me from using my actual authority. It is one thing to give people access to mechanics. It's a whole different thing to give them the confidence to play with that and execute that. As soon as you walk out of your authority and into all of your own openness, you can easily get carried away. You can very easily get overwhelmed. The floodgates open and things come pouring in, and it's very overwhelming. The only real anchor is what your authority is telling you. You know, as a splenic authority, what matters is what's healthy, not what somebody else thinks about why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I was a pure sacral authority, all that matters is whether or not I have energy or I don't have energy. It's not personal. It's not offensive. We will tell you, we will try and convince you that things are personal to try and stop you from doing the thing that's right for you. Mechanics are simple, but the psychology behind everything is not at all. I want you to think about your signature. I want you to think about your success, your satisfaction, your peace, and your surprise. And if you're not experiencing your signature regularly, I want you to think about why you don't fully follow your authority, and who in your life still has the power to override your authority because you prioritize this person's opinion of you more than you prioritize living according to your own authority. If you're doing that, it's because you don't trust you to be the authority. And maybe it's because you don't really know how to operate it. You don't know how to understand it. You lack some kind of awareness on it. Think about who makes you question whether or not you're capable of driving this vehicle. The point of this video was, it was meant to offer support. It's meant to help people give themselves a little bit of grace, some awareness, some understanding about why it's hard to use your authority. You know, everybody kind of just skips over this, you know, strategy and authority, and then they get into what they think is the juicy stuff. But I'll be honest, for me, most of the juicy stuff is a precursor to strategy and authority, because strategy and authority is already really radical. Getting people to come out of their everyday, regular, homogenized life and play with strategy and authority, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. That's honestly where that's where a lot of my work is. Giving people the confidence to even play with the mechanics. Now, YouTube is where I keep things pretty universalized, very generalized. However, if you want specific information about your design, you can get into a one-to-one relationship with me. I've got packages on my website, samzagar.com. Maybe I'll see you there.